Thanks all very much.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Now, it became one of the biggest public purchases this country has ever seen. Last month saw the desperate scramble led by Prince Charles to raise millions of pounds to save Dumfries House in East Ayrshire for the nation. This week, the house's contents were due to be auctioned off at Christie's in London, but that sale was cancelled and the furniture has only just returned north. Roderick Stewart's been for a look around.
It's one of the most historically significant houses in the UK, a great example of Georgian architecture. Dumfries House in Ayrshire has been owned by the Marquis of Bute, built for his family in 1759. Now, 3 years ago, Dumfries House was put on the market, the Marquis deciding he wanted to restructure his finances and concentrate more closely on his main family home on the Isle of Bute. That led to major concerns about what would happen to this place, who would buy it. Then, at the 11th hour last month, just before the closing date, a bid totalling £45 million came in, a bid that secured Dumfries House for the nation. Go inside and the craftsmanship is breathtaking. Many of these pieces of furniture were made or bought especially for the house and are worth hundreds of thousands of pounds or even millions. Few wanted to see the house separated from its contents. This week that furniture was to be sold off at Christie's in London. At the last minute though, the sale was called off, although the Christie's labels remain.
Well, this is an extraordinary piece. It obviously had a lot of interest when the sale was mooted in the first place. It's by the Shakespeare of English cabinet making, the famous Thomas Chippendale himself. And it's a very, very early bookcase for Chippendale. If you look at the quality of this rosewood, the colouring and so on, it hasn't been damaged by light in the way that daylight's affected many other pieces of Chippendale furniture in other houses. So it's very, very fresh still. It's just a wonderful piece.
We can see we've still got the Christie's label here. It's just come back from Christie's, hasn't it? And this had a price tag of £4 million on it, didn't it?
They reckoned that this could well have been the most expensive piece of British furniture ever to have been sold at auction.
The organisations that came together to buy the house with its contents include the Monument Trust, the National Heritage Memorial Fund, Historic Scotland and the Art Fund. Prince Charles got involved, personally underwriting money from his Charities Foundation, money that formed a considerable part of the £45 million.
The key moment, of course, was when Prince Charles said that he was going to commit his very generous support to the campaign. I mean, his interest was engaged, I think, from quite early on, and he realised, as I say, about 2 weeks before the final deadline, that unless he personally committed a very large sum of money, probably nothing was going to happen, because in order to get those last bits of state funding in place, people needed to be convinced that there was a really credible plan for sustaining the house and opening it to the public in the long term.
We were always aware that it was a house of prime importance in the history of Scotland. But we've always got to be careful with public money to make sure that any business case put to us is robust. And we were very pleased to see at the end of the day that the business plan that was put to us was robust, ensured the saving of the house and also the regeneration of the local area.
An independent trust is to be set up to run and maintain Dumfries House. As for when it opens to the public, that's due to be sometime next year, when people can see for themselves this incredible home and its contents. And the quirky little story here is you can just see the dip in this chair here. This is where Lady Bute sat up until the early 1990s. She sadly died in '93, but this is where she used to sit and watch the horse racing, wasn't it?
That's right, it was still a family home. right up until she died in 1993. And as you say, she would sit here. She was a great aficionado of horses, and she had much success in her youth as an owner of horses and so on. And she would sit here for cigarettes and you know, happily watch the television set. It seems strange in this you know, unique environment, but you know, it was very much a family home.
It's an amazing house. It's a very, very beautiful piece of architecture. It's an amazing set of interiors with fantastic plasterwork. There's amazing, really, one of the great, great collections of 18th century English and Scottish furniture. One of the greatest such collections in the world.
The Marquis of Bute, who you might remember from the 1980s as the Formula One racing driver Johnny Dumfries, doesn't spend much time in the house. That's why he decided to sell it. As a result, we saw a mammoth public fundraising effort to save this treasure for the nation, and it was Prince Charles who helped secure the funding. Dumfries House, for 250 years a private home, soon to be open for all of us to visit.